You say you sound very smooth. I
I
don't know.
will.
It's a working meeting. It's all fine to me. So if we go to the what we heard, is it what we heard based entirely on the survey results?
No, it's supposed to be we insert feedback from survey and community conversation that align to guidance and decisions. So I ended up putting down what I only knew, which was the survey data. It's the first and that third bullet, and then Alex added that second bullet.
Mhm.
Okay, this
Um,
Muted myself, but I know we said survey, but what we heard is brought for us, because they mentioned the things that from a programmatic perspective are being considered. From financial, it's those points plus what we are hearing from VDOE and GFAO. So there are some things around best practices on budget that will influence. So things, basically, I would say, current thinking from authoritative sources around public administration and finance, public administration finance, something along those, I don't know, just something along the lines of, and someone that can speak more clearly, if you could synthesize that, that'd be great.
that's synthesized with bullet number 2, that around data points around social distancing requirement, comma, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so we treated this as discrete things around what we heard in the survey data. So I think that that's what it is. That's why we broke it out as social data, social distancing, health and safety, and transportation. I don't know. Safety equipment, social distancing, and transportation. But we get authoritative data about, for example, recommendations on what reserves we should keep, right? That's very different. Things that come out of the GFAO and the VDOE finance and perhaps other best practices. So for example, if we look, and that's why you'll see the other slide too on FSD, because there's a lot of information that's coming out on FSD and COVID-related financial management guidance for finance departments, right? So that's why I put the slide 5, and we can discuss it, but it cuts across many things, not just budget. So maybe
Right, but
financial, I would say, and other financial authoritative sources, something.
you put,
So do we need to add any language regarding funding for curriculum or instruction? So a lot of what we've put here is about the health and safety, because that was revealed in the data. But whether we're hybrid or virtual, there will be funding needs for curriculum and instruction.
And I'm sorry, were there questions related to curriculum and instruction in the survey? I think there were, right?
I can't recall explicitly, but that would definitely be a given, that we would have to have some funding needs for curriculum and instruction. Whether it's training for teachers, if, just kind of speaking to what Dr. Hutchins spoke to in our, in our opening meeting, just of some things that we would have to do just to have all staff be virtual, or, how do we train teachers to do a hybrid or, and virtual at the same time?
And that's what I'm saying is, I think they opened up with the survey and the community inputs, but there are some other authoritative sources, like what Dr. Hutchins says, what, comes out of these other, for example, there's great information that they shared that's coming out of overseas, right? Of models that they're doing that I thought was like, well, that's kind of groundbreaking. We should do that one.
Right. And then that would cover social and emotional learning. Like if we just say curriculum and instruction, that would cover like the whole umbrella of social and emotional learning, like everything that all of the other groups in the SEAL group is working on as well.
I'll put professional development after, honestly, because that's just a little tiny sliver of everything that needs to go in.
Right.
What's that?
Putting professional development after, so dedicate,
We could say dedicated resources and professional development, because even speaking specifically to special education, if we're virtual, there'll definitely be some resources that will need to be allocated, even though I'm sure there's, I forgot the name of the title that they have for SPED, but there's some resources that may be needed for, you know, technology and equipment and just different things that,
so take out professional development altogether, just say dedicated resources for staff to implement the full breadth of curriculum, curriculum and instruction, including SEAL, SPED, etc.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, that looks good, yeah. Mhm.
Curriculum and instruction.
Should we add facilities and tech?
Yeah, that's what I want to get to. I want this to say part of what we want to do is to make sure that we dedicate resources to basically execute and implement the full breadth curriculum instruction, including those things that we are aware of. So that way it stays as one bullet, but we highlight those things, professional development. Is it professional development? SEAL, SPED.
L, facilities.
Facilities, I want to say just operations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry. I would put the last bullet first.
Yeah, I agree. And you can modify my bullets if you think it mentions the survey too much, like, or move it.
Your bullet.
No, some of this too, some of the wordsmithing, I don't want to spend a lot of time doing it because we're paying some consultants to look through this. And,
Okay.
So to Alex's point, I don't want to say dump it, but let's make sure we put it out as best we can and then allow them to wordsmith in some respect. Because I think we're spending, critical time trying to wordsmith when we kind of get the idea of what we want to say. So I'd rather be able to just put it out there and then allow them to wordsmith it. And then they could come back and ask us clarifying questions. But if we can at least get the context and content here, then we allow them to do the follow-up.
I agree with you. You know what I thought about is that even on the decisions, when we go ahead and submit, you know how we're saying there are things that are in maroon? Perhaps everything that seems like somewhere else, we just put in maroon and say, we recognize there may be a better home for these and defer to the consulting group to assist us on placement. Because I don't want, even for Dominic, to have to go through everything, right? He will then feel like, okay, I have to critically cut it. But I truly believe that's part of the value proposition of working in this cross-functional sort of approach where we feed each other things. It's all about marinating and cross-fertilization, whatever you want to call it.
Yes. Yeah. So if we try to move forward and move from that to a summary, what is the summary of topic?
No. Move to criteria for success. How will we know we did our job?
You have step 3 as a summary of topic, Alex. Do you want to
That's a mistake. That's a mistake. Yeah.
Okay. So how we know the criteria for success. Okay, I'm going to ask, correct, I'm just going to throw it out there. How will you know if all of these efforts are successful, just from a school standpoint?
So from a school standpoint, if you're speaking, like if we go back to the dedicated resources for staff to implement the full breadth of curriculum instruction, professional, you'll know definitely from August, professional learning was implemented for staff. Any resources that were needed for SPED and L were executed. From an operations standpoint, if we are hybrid, any masks that were needed for schools was received, any resources that were needed as far as facilities setting up any type of face shields or, shields on desk, have been put in place. Let me see, I'm trying to go through the bullets quickly. So basically, how will we know, they were a success is the actual implementation of the things that, we said would be purchased or the things that we said were going to happen.
Yeah, I'm again trying to.
I think starting to, sorry, Robert, I see this bullet, which is basically bullet 4, and putting that bullet 4 on top of everything.
Which you're
bullet
talking
4,
about?
what Pierrette mentioned.
This one here?
Yes. So basically, it's curriculum and instruction objectives, and we can say I put curriculum and instruction curriculum and instruction objectives. Student nutritional needs are appropriately supported through financial resources. The reason I'm highlighting this one separate from operational, we can broaden, but like it's kind of what we're saying. We know we only need to make this decision. We will measure success if it actually is, right? And then
I mean, I can agree with this. I think ultimately what Alex and Pierrette, what you were saying is, we would know we're successful if these objectives, by whatever means, whether it's operating fund, school nutrition, CARES Act, FEMA grants, Title I, we will know that we are at least on the track of being successful if these things, these objectives have been supported through the financial resources.
Right, so, supported, successfully implemented, and being used by whoever is the receiver of those services.
So I'm gonna somewhat unpacks that later, Pierrette. So can you read through and see if some of those other aspects are covered?
Yeah, I sure can.
Yeah.
Because one thing, if as far as the use of goods and services, that's one thing I think we should be monitoring, particularly during this time. People say they need things and then they don't necessarily use them, and then we're wasting things. Let me see one time. So request for prioritized versus one-time versus ongoing expenditures. Yes.
So let's move that bullet up, I think, and then we'll have to play out, but it has to be kind of like. I think it does make sense to prioritize it, so it's a natural flow.
Yeah, I think giving that priority because, just making sure that people clearly understand that the things you buy need to be a priority. Like, it's not the free-flowing, my teachers want this, so let me just go ahead and get this to make them happy. It's not that kind of, situation this school year. It's like you buy what you need to successfully implement a virtual environment, or you buy what you need to successfully implement a hybrid environment to ensure that students are learning, to get the student outcomes, right? So basically our criteria for success is that students are learning, students are, if it's food and nutrition services, students are being fed, or if it's special education, students are receiving their accommodations, and we are, they're receiving their distance learning plans, or their IEP meetings are being held. So let me see.
Robert, where did that bullet go?
What bullet?
It was that bullet on the prioritization.
Right.
Can you move that up? And then we have to add something on uses, what Pierrette just said. It's almost monitoring of use somewhere, right, Pierrette? That's what I heard.
Yes, the one-time versus ongoing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that could be second or third. I think the first 3 bullets are the most important. Let me see. And then, of course, the 4th, the new normal.
So, for example, that's execution. Yeah, that's execution. I'm sorry, I have to critically read myself. So, because time passed. Okay, so for us, that's execution about pooling. The second one is around, we actually need this mapped. And this is what I was saying is start with the uses, then fit it into a box of a financial report. Because if you go that other way, you might make a mistake. Budget will determine.
See, I think I was trying to take this out. I don't think this is a criteria for success.
Well,
Determining
if we
account
do
code.
it if we do it the wrong way, I think this is if we didn't accommodate you,
Well, I
we
think,
did a
but that's encompassed in the next bullet is able to meet our existing and new reporting needs.
perfect. I agree.
So this one right here, I'm going to delete this
Goodbye.
one because I think this right here encompasses
Mhm.
budget manager. So a criteria for success, again, I don't think.
These are to me, these are important. I'm sorry. I like hold me accountable. So number one, that we can report. Number two, that we actually adhere to a financial management standard, and I will expound on that.
No, I agree. I'm not arguing that.
No,
point.
but I
An
need to sell it for
accountability point.
myself. I need to sell it to myself. So do you think, for example, we will, as financial department, have to now be much more explicit about the financial management guidance? Then budget managers are on the hook to monitor not only the financial activity, but actually the variance. So I got a variance, I'm going to do my budget transfer now or requisition. Anticipate, communicate procurements and staffing needs. What I mean by that is we don't have a formal procurement planning process, as I've heard from others. So that's something that we will have to bring on point. So we anticipate those needs. Agreed?
I just combined the last 2 points that the department and school leadership adheres to the financial management standards, including active monitoring.
Agreed.
So, okay, so regarding procurement planning process, so now from a school perspective, we have thresholds of things that we can and cannot purchase and guidelines for how we can purchase those things. So I guess that's ACPS's process. Is that what you mean? Because there's a process in place for procurement based on different thresholds of funding. So is that what you mean, Alex?
So for example, what I would say, it's setting that even standard. So for communicating procurement, so you may have a plan, but then I would not say, if it's not true, that come Q4, all of a sudden these requests all collapse, right? All are hit. And then maybe that's a strategy. Okay, I get it for carrying over. But what I mean is plan ahead, and some folks do it better. Some departments do it better, others don't. So we have to say, communicate, which is, we say that, but we don't say have an annual plan that not only the threshold, but have an annual plan and manage to that plan, or modify that plan as you go so that you know what you have to repurpose. Because right now the budget transfer process right now is sort of like, I think that's where it starts with the procurement planning. And it starts with being agile in managing that. And I'm not saying it's not done. It's just like procurement teams should know, hey, these schools will definitely have a book purchase on X, right? So they can start to pool. Or operations in Q2 will submit to you 5 requests around X.
Yeah. I think Alex, again, you're making an excellent point. As we as a system move more towards planning and preparing for procurement items, because I believe we have operated in so many silos that from a procurement perspective, they're getting orders from Hammond, GW, Tucker, all of these different schools, whereby if there was even some semblance of a planning process for all the schools, we could then make similar type purchases at the same time. And they could be, maybe consolidated in the orders. And so therefore, become more efficient.
Yes, and I have a bullet related to this. So I'm forwarding to all of you now.
Oh, that's the new normal, division-wide.
But I have something additional. So, that's an important success criteria. And I think if we don't, so Christina Strunk, who is part of the elements, I said, for us, it's the new normal, but we need to learn how to operate it. So I would have to say professional development around, that's a criteria for success, around the new process of change of operating, the new normal, but I'm talking from a, how do you implement this? What does agile look like? We have to even our own understanding of this. So let me share with you those resources now so you have a flavor for them.
Okay, oh, Alex, is that gonna take us away from
No,
what we're
just
trying to do here?
No, just put a bullet. No, you don't have to look at it now. Just put a bullet here that says something along criteria for success is that our staff are professional, that basically, Fred help me, but professional development around how do you think differently? How do you act differently? And does that make sense?
No, not really.
Okay.
Professional development to adapt to the new model.
The professional development to adapt to the new normal, operations under the new normal. That's it. Professional development for staff to adapt to operating under the new normal, in quotes.
So would that come under just ours specifically, or would that be overarching for Dominic for all the entire,
I think it's
playbook? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think
wouldn't
it's
wanna see it.
cascading.
Right. So like, if it's going to appear in ours, shouldn't it appear in every single playbook that we have for every group that we have going?
Yeah, but I
think
want to
it's kind
put
of
it here.
overarching.
But I want to put it here because, for example, adapting in the way it really, I mean, again, I don't want to spend time on it, but adapting in our own, around everything around budget, I would be amiss if I said that we have to change the way we work, right? We have to, and then to change the way we work, we have to learn the way we work. And so, for example, even the way that we're working here now, that is perhaps a little bit different. We would have sat in a meeting, we would have individually provided more input. We're not now much more collaborative, but that's something that needs to be learned.
That's a good point, Alex. But yeah, I agree with Brett where it might be a curriculum item where maybe talent development may suggest a division-wide professional development for staff.
But I would say, guys, I'm sorry, because having done these programs, it's not just up on top. It's like every budget manager needs to learn how to do that. And then every staff needs to learn what that means. And also, so it's a cascade factor. It's not just from the top, here's a training. It's like, really, how do you operationalize it?
But you know what, and if I could just interject real quick, I think we need to but I think just having this conversation here, the professional development for staff as it relates to specifically just the budget. So not necessarily professional development for teachers to learn how to teach in a hybrid model or how to teach virtually. It's really professional development for our budget managers as well. I think when we look at this for the administrative assistants, the treasurers, or the grant managers that manage grants out in the schools or in the departments, from a budget perspective, we're also asking and tasking them for a little professional development as well under this new normal.
And I would put that under professional development learning objectives. That way it's clear.
Can we replace staff or at least specify that this is budget related?
Okay.
Yes,
let's budget. Yeah.
So criteria for success is professional development, learning objectives.
That's
are met. The success criteria are met to something. Okay, that's fine. Because this is now, this is missing a verb, but we can do that later. And don't worry, we'll move it later.
Yeah, professional development encompasses everything. Okay, so I'm going to unbold this because I think we could use this.
It should be professional development for budget supports the new I don't know, adapts to the, maybe so not to adapt, but adapts to liaisons. Adapts. I think it's not just budget. No, adapts to, because Robert, we have to have a verb. Adapts to.
I say adapt to operating under a new normal. Not operating fund, but just operating in general.
No, but what I'm saying is all of the other ones you see are appropriately staffed. That is clear. So we need a verb. So professional development for budget liaisons adapts to the, yeah, I don't know, whatever, we'll find it, but we need a verb.
Well,
We need a verb to be, for it to be a successful criteria,
I'm clear.
whatever.
Help me out, Perrette. Is that to me sounds like a professional development for
We
budget?
can't hear you, Perrette.
Sorry about that. Professional development for budget liaisons to adapt to operating under a new normal, our new normal, the new normal. It's like, how do we have it in the beginning when we did new normal? Hold on, new normal division-wide budget management allows for pooling of budget
And we need a verb. We need a verb, guys.
Yeah, she's saying
I mean, we could just say under our new normal, because it is our new normal.
Allows to adapt, or adapts under the new, to operating on, adapts. It says professional development for adapts to operating under, allows us to adapt.
Professional development for budget liaisons to adapt to operating under a new. Can we go back to it? Let me think on it for a second. Yeah, because I don't want us to perseverate over a verb or just, and so that we don't, let me think on it for a second.
Yeah, and then supporting docs then, right? Or do we move to the right-hand side of?
Oh, I did have a question, Alex. It looks like it was swapped because division guidance.
Oh, you know why? Because of spacing. However,
Okay.
and now the space is still, and again, they said that this may be challenging to get on one slide, so it's fine. They can deal with that. I just created space so we can read it.
okay.
I'm just gonna unbold.
Yes, ma'am. So now we go to division guidance, and then school budget actions, and then what would support it, right?
Okay, so under division guidance, each school / department to support the new model, or some resources may be centralized.
Can I show you something on the FSD? Because I think the guidance piece we have to, can you go to the slide 5? Okay, so you see something around guidance, to develop something along those things where you see the yellow. So I think it needs to be more explicit. So we know we need to develop updated financial management guidance. We know we need to review and roll out a communication plan to develop information. So for example, we need to improve our communication, again, however you put it, but I think to make it possible, we have to release financial management guidance. That includes budgeting guidance. I think we have to put the word, no, it says budget. Then we have to roll out a communication plan that helps us communicate that, because right now we send emails. I think we need to formalize that. And best practices of knowledge management would say we have a mechanism for regular updates. So, once a month you get a newsletter, and then this sort of more live. We need to expand the use of FSD Canvas.
Okay, that's more broader than trying to address the issues that we have here at hand. I think you're going down the road of broader planning for a new and updated financial management team, whereas what we're looking for right here is a division guidance as it relates to hybrid or virtual model.
Okay, so each school has FY21 budgets that can be used, but you see, that's not guidance. We have to frame that around guidance. So what guidance will they get?
Specifically for schools, you mean? So specifically for schools needs guidance on if there is a percentage of the budget that is being cut, specifically what that percentage is, how much we can spend, guidelines for what percentage we can spend during first quarter.
So new budgeting guidelines, I would say, new budgeting guidelines in general terms.
Right. Yeah, I think Dominic spoke yesterday about, well, if we tell you you can only spend 25% of your budget, first quarter. So specifically, what percentage of budgets can be spent per quarter?
But see, this is where I would say pipelining. That's why I said those other things, like guidance on what are expectations around how you pipeline, right? How you project out.
Division guidance of
I would say financial management in general.
you said financial management.
Because that's the stuff that will go to the, well, that will update to say to all of the budget managers and their supporting treasurers, they would know, okay, the new financial management standards, they're real standards. Like we would say, we only do budgeting once a year. Well, the new financial management standard may be more explicit in what actions are required. So more frequent rebudgeting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. See, I would separate the two. So financial management, it's guidance around financial management.
Yeah, but it's under the division guidance. So I was trying to be a little more specific, that division guidance, that from a budget and like what our budget team or what the financial management team would set budgeting and procurement threshold restrictions parameters. Now that encompasses whether you're going to have a restriction to spend only 25% for the first few months. Like that gives a broader guidance. What that guidance is something more specific, and we dig deeper into that in terms of implementation and execution. But the overarching guidance would be that. For financial management, the overall guidance would be that your FY21 budget is going to be used to support whichever model we take, although some resources may be centralized. So that may be some guidance regarding, okay, these particular budget line items are going to be pooled together in a centralized manner so that we could purchase division-wide software or software online. The other division guidance that's coming from, again, from the budget team, is that the schools will still continue to have access and be able to do budget transfers to align their budget to, I guess, to specific needs or whatever, to realign their budget. That, to me, if you just put those 3 bullet points as overarching division guidance, everything that we could talk about would fit underneath those larger guidance categories. I pose that as a question. Like, is there any?
I agree. So what I was looking at was actually, so then if those are the 3 action items I was looking at, so school administration would basically be aligning our actions to the division guidance. So school administration would be monitoring the thresholds and restrictions that are put in place by the divisions. School administration would be
I think we need to be more explicit, like you said, Drew.
Right. Yes. So
let's take everything you're saying. Yes, I think this is where the rubber meets the road. This is action. Now we've gone to the action level.
Okay, the school building action items.
Yeah, well, technically.
Okay. Right. Well, so if we're going with those 3 bullets for division guidance, then any school building action items from school administration need to align to division guidance. So we can't have a misalignment in what you're expecting school administration to do in relation to division guidance. So there has to be a connection there.
Yeah.
But guys, I hear you, but I do believe, and then maybe this is a question for, if we let's look back to see what they did on the mental health, to see how granular they got.
Where
that will help us. The one that, for slide 4, we can take the example to see how granular they got, to see how much. You see, there's explicit procedures to
Right, you're talking right here, school administration will provide procedures to, I think
so
that's
one is procedures, the other one is ongoing like we will embed process. So one is, okay, one is procedure, the other is people behavior, another one is process, and the other one is training. Those are the themes. And so I think those themes can repeat everywhere. They're non-standard. What we put as sort of the meat of it is going to be, because that's how you know you're successful, right? You've put a procedure in place. You are actually taking that action, like conducting inventory and measuring that people do. You've provided an enabling process, and then you've trained the individuals to be successful.
Okay.
So that framework we can replicate in ours, I think. Pierrette, from a sort of a different lens of this, what's best in terms of education, is this meet the needs?
Yeah, but I think Pierrette was on the right track of basically saying that the schools, from a school administration, that they will monitor, that they will do these sorts of things that we were putting up here.
Right. So I get exactly what you're saying, Alex, as far as like what you just spoke about. But when you're talking about school building action items, I feel like you need to be very explicit with principals regarding exactly what you want them to do, exactly what those action items need to be. So if you want us to monitor thresholds, like you need to explicitly say like exactly what you want.
But what I would do is I would first start with the same frame as they have. So go back to yellow. And I would, the piece that we would repeat on ours. So school administration will provide procedures to, and then we fill in ours. School leadership team and department teams will conduct, and then whatever that is. School administration and department will embed processes, that's the next one, and and when we are more explicit about ours. So if we repeat those pieces and then sprinkle, I would just cut and paste, and then we from the other side, and then we can replace it with what we already have plus expand.
Okay. So here.
Just take that whole section. We'll remove everything that comes after, essentially, from provide to and replace it what we already have plus additional. Yep. We'll provide then procedures to, and let's take out everything after to.
So are we providing procedures or are we adhering to procedures?
The next one is around adherence. So the first one is the procedure, then it's adherence. So that it goes step by step. We'll see what we need to borrow and what we take out. So for this, I would take out dot, I would put dot, 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 and then we fill in the dot, dot, dot. The next one is school administration, leadership teams and department conduct ongoing. So however, and I think this is where maybe it's not conduct ongoing, but as you say, operationalize or whatever.
No, I would definitely say conduct ongoing inventory of budget items that have been purchased.
Okay.
Yeah.
So dot, 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 and we'll fill in what those are.
Mm-hmm. Can we move that little block that says still have questions? Can it be moved around?
Oh yeah, it's killing me too.
Just, go away, go away. You can cut it and then add it later, or whatever, move it to the top.
That part, yes, school, you can leave that part. So school administration and department leaders will embed processes regarding how department leaders will spend, so each department, so to give you an example.
So we'll expand, dot, dot, dot,
Yeah,
dot, 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 we'll get there. And then we'll take exactly what you say and plop it in. But it's norms, I think I would say, I would keep the word norms.
What?
I would keep the word, somewhere in there should be the word norms, keeping the word norms. So it's like, anyway, you can dot, dot, dot everything, we'll figure it out. Yeah, keep this, you can even cut the norms, we know we have to have it. Okay, required training on altered on, and then dot, 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 and we'll say. And now everything in 4, 5, and 6, and 7 and 8, let's see if we can fit it into those 4 boxes. What moves up, and then what we add from what Pierrette is saying.
Right. So for one, we could say school administration will adhere to procedures and monitor thresholds related to school budget restrictions or something along. So whatever guidance you all are giving us regarding our budgets, we need to adhere to those procedures and thresholds. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So ongoing inventory. So that is really important, and maybe ongoing is different. Assessment, perfect.
And actually, I would add school administration, school treasurer. Really, it's the school administration and school treasurer will conduct an ongoing assessment of items purchased, use of budget, or really it's the use of the budget.
But you see,
ongoing assessment of ongoing assessment of items purchased, budget items purchased.
But do you see there's another aspect of this that says like sort of the mechanics of it, like weekly check-ins, right? So, or whatever it is. But I just thinking about how we capture that aspect. So we conduct assessment frequency, you know, like I guess a little bit more.
I mean, yeah, and so if you definitely want to, because every principal has their own way of kind of doing their budget. Like, so my treasurer, we do it weekly. If you want to make sure that we are standardizing how everybody does it, we could definitely do weekly assessments of budget, bi-weekly assessment of budget.
Or weekly review of new needs, right? Bi-monthly or twice a month assessment of, so basically you would say where maybe at the start and the finish, I don't know, like something like bi-monthly. So you know halfway in, this is where you are, and at the end, you know where you are.
Right.
At the end of the month, you know where you are.
Right.
So ongoing assessment of so do you all, and again, do you guys have an unrolling list of new requests? So for example, do you have like a Google Docs where teachers go in and if they submit a request, it all gets submitted, and on a weekly basis on Fridays, you all review? Is that something?
So I can only speak to him, and so we have a process where if teachers have requests for things that they want to purchase, so each of my APs lead a department. So if they have a request, they take that request to the AP for review, and then after it's reviewed by the AP, then it comes to me, and then my treasurer and we look at their department budget to see, you know, what's available, you know, for purchase. So we kind of review. It's not like they can just kind of, you know, go straight to the treasurer and kind of get what they want, do it beforehand.
And but in terms of like, because would this be something that requires like you have do this agile, right? But where you are making trade-offs, is there like like say in your Friday meeting, you will provide have an update on the requisition on the cash requests, right? Have an update of new requests of whoever submitted and make a decision on that. And again, I don't know what it looks like, so I defer to you. There's a weekly check-in on financial position, or bi-monthly check-in from the treasurer on our financial position and pending procurements.
Right, or you could say each school administration will create a weekly protocol for assessing transactions.
Procurements, and
right.
And the sort of status of pending requests.
Because that protocol, while it works for me, I definitely know it's not going to work for 2C. You know, their budget is so much bigger than ours.
Yeah, and it's up to them to develop that.
Right.
And what about number 2?
And then I would say, and weekly check-ins and updates on pending procurements, pending requisitions. I think that's essential, because so often that they kind of, yes, we send an email, but there has to be a pulse. We have to the central office the following requests. We are here in the process.
No,
Oh, go ahead.
Operating fund, they have POs, so they do POs for that.
Oh, no. What I mean is from them, like from the perspective of school, they will submit all these requests. You basically submit that agile whenever the need arises. But to close the full cycle of something like for example, something lingering for 6 months, right? If there's a check-in and that's formalized out of that meeting, the actions will always trickle in. I guess what I mean is it's faster to something that tightens the approval process vis-a-vis the schools and central office. I don't know. Direct over to you.
Yeah, but those are the things that can happen in a weekly check-in and a monthly financial review. So those items that you say that are lingering or need some assistance through a process,
I think you did well. Yeah, I think you covered it in the ongoing. I didn't, sorry, I should have looked at the edit. So I see it has needs, requirements, spend.
So the only thing I was going to say is possibly 2 and 3 could be combined. If you add department teams will embed processes and conduct ongoing assessments, that would just kind of combine 2 and 3, right? So that you don't have, that just eliminates another sentence. That's all I was going to say.
Perfect.
And
so this is where I would say anybody that is a financial manager will require training for new. I would say we do this, but we don't do it standardly. So new onboarding and topic specific trainings around financial management. So, for example, we can do brown bags, right? And again, I'm throwing it out the thread. So there could be a topic where we know we could do better, whatever that is. Like treasurers may say, I really need more on this. And we can't hear you. Right? Oh, yeah, 1 second.
We have manuals or tutorials.
Yeah, tutorials. I would say require supplemental financial stuff.
Okay, I'm sorry. What'd you say again? I'm sorry.
Okay, so what I was saying is that financial management staff will require. So this looks a little bit different now. Hold on a second. So, but what I'm saying, financial management staff will require.
So yes, so that actually, when I thought of that, I thought of all of the budget trainings that all principals and treasurers we go through at the beginning of the school year. So the procurement training, the training to get our credit card. I can't think of the formal name of that training, but it's that.
And does that happen annually? Does that happen annually?
That's an annual training, yes.
Yeah.
That's why I said supplemental, like refresher.
And then will require supplemental. Well, I would say onboarding, standardized onboarding, guys. I'm sorry. I would say onboarding require standardized onboarding and supplemental refreshers.
Right, but it's too late to say onboarding. They're already on. So this is refresher or supplemental.
This is for new. So Robert, I will argue. I have a new principal. The way I onboard principal A and principal B is standardized. I know we mean that, but I don't mean that just for financial. There's like a procurement aspect. I don't know if it's uniform.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. Again, now you're speaking more in terms of the broader financial management department versus specific to this particular hybrid or virtual model, in that what we're going to do is conduct and provide supplemental or refresher financial budget procurement training.
Can I rephrase this? But we'll have access to. So if I were to say financial, so staff with financial responsibilities, not financial management, but staff with financial responsibilities have access to, regularly scheduled trainings, and we can figure out what that is if it's annual. Regularly scheduled trainings, self-service resources, right? Because we and updates. They have access to it. And that puts us on the hook for any newsletters, any new trainings that we do, whatever frequency, and anything new that we release. Staff with financial management responsibilities have access to. Mhm. So I would say regularly scheduled, whatever that is. And just trainings, regularly scheduled trainings, self-service resources. That will encompass everything. Self-service resources and
etc.
I would say periodic updates. So the periodic updates on, because we need to have something like a newsletter or something like that.
That's regularly scheduled.
No, but that's training. So what I'm saying is a
No.
newsletter. So for example, new things, we have everything around grants that's come out, everything
Self-service
around,
resources and self-service information and guidance, or
So can I just ask
Yeah.
a question, because I don't want us to put something that put a process in place that traditionally we have not had, right? So traditionally we've only had a yearly training at the beginning of the school year. So if we're saying regularly scheduled, that implies that we are doing this more than just the beginning
how
of the
about scheduled? Take out the word regular, scheduled.
Right. And and of course, my financial team, they're always available by appointment. If I
Yeah.
call or I have questions, maybe we can say something along those lines, that each school-based financial team is available for support. If I call Deborah or email Deborah, she's always available by appointment. But I don't want us to put anything in there. And of course, if I call Robert, he's like, what do you want? But he'll still deal with me. I don't want us to put anything in there that is holding us liable for implementation of something that we have not.
No. What I meant is scheduled, really. What I mean is, like, when I said regularly, I mean like annually.
Okay.
So let's just keep it broad and say scheduled, and that's it.
Okay.
We can figure out. Self-service resources. That sounds good. But it's something along the lines what to anticipate. You're saying like, or have access to financial responsibility. Staff with financial will have access to scheduled. But see, it's a school building action item. So it's us that are on the hook to give you that. So I think that should go into, so it's not a guidance, but that's on the hook to us. Well, let's leave it.
What's that?
So you see, staff with financial responsibility will have access to. Is that truly a school building action? Because those people, it's financial management responsibility, staff with financial management responsibilities. Well, I guess, Spirit, you have your sub-teams that have financial management responsibility, so it's fine.
Right. And so, that's
So what do you mean by that? So really, no. So it's myself and Lori, who's my treasurer. And then I have Kanika Dorsey, who's my AP, who only has financial management responsibilities in my absence.
So this is why I'm saying is this bullet 3 is a critical bullet, but is it actually a school building action? So maybe what we have to do is staff with financial participate in scheduled. Or take part in, or whatever, participate in, or because it's not on you, it's on us.
Right. So staff with financial management responsibilities will, will
participate.
participate. Yes, will participate and have access to. Yes, and then of course my Title I coordinator has financial management responsibilities
and have access to. And
Yeah,
then
okay, I think that's where the action for the school is that they will participate and have access to. So, okay, to that point.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's keep on going.
Okay, so do we
That's
then
granular. That on the.
Do we get rid of this that was there before?
I think so.
Yep. Well, there's transparent, provide communication, but I don't know. I think this is not to belittle this. I think this is kind of above, as you have division-wide guidance and division-wide actions, and then you have school building actions. I think we're missing a section for us, wouldn't you say, guys?
That wasn't provided, so I'm not
I
interjecting
know,
something
but
else. Yeah.
okay, that's fine.
I mean, I agree with Alex. I thought there should be a bullet of what budget staff need to take action on.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't
but-
have
So
to
we
be
might outvote you,
bullet.
Perrette. Don't you think you want to hold us accountable?
So it would be helpful.
I guess it's not fair. I would say from a perspective, we're asking you, you have to hold us accountable.
Well, so what I would need, actually, my treasurer can provide. So I would want a monthly report or a bi-monthly report of where our budget stands. However, my treasurer can do that. Maybe a monthly review by the budgeting office, just so that there's another eye looking at, looking at what schools are doing. It's not necessarily something that you all necessarily have to meet with us, because I can have my treasurer pull my monthly report.
Yeah, this is more broad. Like if you go back to the budget, I think, well, I'm not going to speak for Shelley, but Shelley, you did this part, and to me, it
Yeah.
makes sense.
I mean, you can condense it to one item, but what Perrette was saying about the monthly report, I think budget can still provide some type of reporting, maybe in a different format, and maybe more in detail that can be a little bit more insightful, like to have historical data, or maybe capture.
So we'll have access to, so division-wide or standardized division-wide reports. Something along those lines. So because then if the perspective is school building actions,
or just, budget staff will provide either monthly, quarterly reports to schools departments, something very.
for review too, because
Right.
I come back to the action. So that's what we
I
have to
think
say.
Probably start with monthly, and then you probably can phase into quarterly once we kind of have some things going.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I think we can reframe this because if we have to can you go back for a sec? If we have to keep it around action, so staff, can we go back? Yeah, staff with my review reports provided. So staff with financial management responsibilities, review reports provided, because that way we frame it. We still do it. We still are on the hook, but I think we'll address it. Provided by the central office. I don't know.
No, I'm trying to just keep these bullets here, and
But
maybe to your
Robert,
point.
Robert, we need a fourth bullet. So for example, we'll participate, and then they will, because then that way we reframe what Shelley said, except it's around the action. So for example, school administrations will adhere and monitor, but what we're seeing explicitly is they will also review the things we provide, and we communicate. So I guess what I mean is, like, this still makes sense to have, maybe we rephrase it as an action that is in response to what we do as budget team.
So you're saying a fourth bullet will be a combination of their staff will, okay.
So basically, staff staff with financial management responsibilities will review reports provided by the central office, and which is, it's not to say that we're not doing it, it's just to say that we're saying this is a formalized action, right? So and then you can still leave the things that we are on the hook for. So I said we'll review reports and requests provided. So we will review reports and received from central office, and then we are on the hook of providing with those reports, the trainings, the guidance. We will.
Can I actually update your bullet 4, Alex?
Yes, please.
So can you take out provided by budget staff? Because Les Perez had said treasurers can run their own report as well. So just, say to review reports.
I agree. That way it says requests too, and requests. So for example, unfortunately, they get requests from their staff, they get requests from us. So what it is that everybody responds. And again, most people do, but if should someone not, they can refer back to this action.
Okay.
I love it. I love the 5, 6, and 7 as we have it. I think that's the right thing to hold us accountable to. Brett, anything else you want to hold us accountable?
Nope, I think that's, that just that monthly review alone will be helpful.
Mm-hmm. So now comes the important thing of supplemental documentations. And I think that's the evolution that we talk about that kind of unpacks the guidance, and that's supporting docs. So what can we do? The types of guidance. And let's mirror what they, let's look back at the social emotional so that we have the same level there too. So yeah, specific, well, they're kind of broad. So we have to give examples of the types of toolkits. So let's go back to ours.
So the first thing that pops into my head is we're going to have to outline instructions on how departments and schools are going to submit their requests.
So we have that, right? Let me just look. So guidance, new guidance on budgeting parameters, standards, decision-making around new needs.
Okay.
And so, decision making, I mean, submission of requests and decision making, because that's something else. It needs to be transparent. Like, what happens after you submit the request? So, submission of submission and decision making. So, but after standards, I would say submission on the first bullet where you are under supporting documents. Yeah. After the word standards, I would say
the bullet 1 and 2 look similar to me. Can you?
Well, let's cover with the first one here. Submission of new requests, submission and decision making after standards. Submission or submitting and decision making. It's standards. Next sort of, yeah. Next standards. I don't know. Sorry. Can you guys help me? Because now I forgot standards. Submitting requests and submitting requests and decision making.
That's okay. See,
yeah,
you dig too granular. The guidance document on budgeting parameters. If you just say the budgeting parameters, that encompasses all of those extra things that you're getting ready to talk about now.
No, it's not, Robert. It's what they're asking is what Shelley just said. We need to provide guidance on how to request and what the decision process will be when those requests are submitted.
And that will be covered in a document on the budgeting parameters.
No, I see it as separate, but you guys can, parameters are, what can you do? How much can you buy of? Which budgets do you use? Line items? What's your flexibility?
Okay.
Submitting requests is a separate.
So maybe we call it a new guidance document on the budgeting process. Because the budgeting process encompasses a whole bunch of decision points and assumptions and how we go about doing things as part of the process. Like if you look at the budget planning manual that we put together every year.
So let's just take out the first bullet completely and say updated financial management guidance and training and job aids. But what I'm heard is like
that. Yeah, I think that's what Shelley was getting at, is like both of them kind of are redundant in some respects.
So cut one.
What Robert said, maybe just make it not too detailed and just say processes.
Processes, yeah, so cut out, just say budgeting processes, and then I hear you. And And the budgeting process, you stick out the parameters to the top, right? That's what I heard?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Gotcha. And then, yeah, updated trainings and job aids. So one thing I wanted to tell you, and I'll explain what I was thinking here. So all this is good, but one of the things that are foundation, and it can be supporting docs and helpful contacts in this aspect of contacts, we need to establish, just like we have done here, a cross-functional working group to support development of these new work streams.
What is a work stream?
Like everything that's around what we just put down. So for example, just like Perrette is our go-to that bounces of ideas, to expect that Perrette is always going to be that person, probably not. But when we talk about these things, the only way we'll be successful is if we have those perspectives. So as we develop all these or meet those actions that are here and guidance, we need to have a group that does this. And yes, it's intuitive that we'll consult, but I think a cross-functional working group would be effective for us.
Okay, that's something that as a I guess a help a school supporting school doc. I don't know. That's not necessarily.
No.
That's not.
No, what I'm talking about is how we get for helpful contacts, right? So
I get that. I get that. But in this particular block right here is establishing a cross-functional working group. I agree with the cross-functional working group, but does it go here as a school supporting school doc and helpful contact?
I think you move it in maroon, but we have to find a home for it.
I think we should list the that budget liaison contact list as
I agree.
helpful contacts.
I will do that above the financial services newsletter.
And just to add on to the supporting docs, maybe mention the budget book and chart of accounts book.
Okay. I put that in job aids. Or we can be explicit. We can put in parentheses job aids example.
Oh, no. If you define it as job aids, that's fine.
But I can do it. We can do an example. Example.
What do you call it? Chart of accounts and what?
Budget book.
The budget book.
Etc. Etc. I'm being Polish.
And then you said the budget. Oh, the liaison contact list.
Yeah, budget liaison contact list for schools and departments.
And the counterparts too, because things change. We just have to maintain. So maintain updated support or current budget liaison contact list. Where of course we can look it up on the website, etc., but it's just not efficient. Yeah.
Now this right here, this was a. Maybe Alex, this establish a cross-functional team is a budget staff.
Action budgets. I agree with you. Just put that as a. Or I could go on criteria for success. Honestly, we can only be successful if you do X.
Well, I can't. You can't say that because we haven't had it. So if you're saying we've been a failure all this time, I think this is one of those where we say budget staff will establish.
And again, 1 month there may be something, another month there may not be, but we now have formalized that channel for.
Okay, I know we've taken up plenty of time today. Is there anything else that's, again, we can't be perfect on this, but I think we have encompassed a lot in this particular slide right here that if presented.
I think we have a nice product, guys.
Yeah.
I think we have a nice product.
Yeah. I do want to ask, where does it still have questions and contact? Where does these blocks go? Were they part?
Oh, well, oh, that's a good one. Is maybe that's contact info. So if you have questions, that's your contact, I think. Okay, who do we contact? Well, we can say we contact this group of 4, right? Or no, Robert, it's you.
I was thinking budget liaisons.
Oh, if you still, oh, you mean the vis-a-vis? Well, no, I understood this.
Oh, just the
Still
contact.
questions on the slide. Oh yeah, then.
Oh, well, let's just look what they did on the other ones to see. Let's just see before we make them.
That's what I'm.
That's how you interpret it too?
Yeah, just
Okay,
one
let's
person,
just-
and then if it needs to go to other places.
Well, no, but what I mean is this vis-a-vis this slide, or is this vis-a-vis how we work? Because I would hate to have to funnel. I mean, we don't want you. It's unsustainable. So I just wanted to make sure.
The way I view this playbook, that question is for this particular slide. Like, who do you contact?
Perfect. That's exactly how I go.
And then once somebody says, "Hey, well, Robert, on your slide we have this question," I'm just gonna put it back to you guys and say, "Hey,
Agree.
okay, are we good to go? I want to shoot Dominic a message
Yeah.
says, hey, take a look at our slide." Okay, speak
Can you
now.
switch the steps to put summary as a step 4? Well, we didn't read step 4. Probably should.
Alex, do we need those steps?
Well, it helps us they know how we thought about this. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't know. You can take out, but
this will help them, the consultants or whatever, kind of see our process and where and how we got to where we got. Okay,
yeah, yep, perfect.
okay, I want to shoot this to Dominic. So speak now, forever hold your peace.
Yeah, it looks good.
We're good.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
thank
it
you
looks
guys.
great.
All right.
Mhm.
Thank
All right.
you.
All right, thanks everyone.
All
Bye.
right. See you next week.
Yep.